Hi, I'm Phil Berman from Balanced Catamarans, and I'm here today to talk just a little bit about our helm station. I've been fortunate over the last decade or so to manage the sale of over 500 used catamarans, and I not only get to sail on all the different helm station designs, but I also get to hear what people have to say about them after they sell the boat. And all advantages are attended with disadvantages in design, but I've looked at all the different helm stations that have been available and decided that none of them really quite met my needs for the ultimate cruising boat. So I'll just talk here briefly about the advantages and disadvantages of some of the different types of helm stations. One type of helm station is called a forward cockpit. The forward cockpit, there's a door that goes from the front of the main salon out into a cockpit in front of the boat. The beauty of that type of cockpit is that in light air, you're connected, you feel the wind, it's beautiful, and when you're off wind, when the apparent wind speeds are down, it's a comfortable place to be. However, when you have to go up there to reef your boat, you have to put on foul weather gear, you have a door that opens, you walk into the boat sloshing with water, and you're basically subjected to a fire hose in heavy air, because when you're sailing upwind in, say, 15 knots of true wind, if you have a high-performance boat like this, you're experiencing 25 knots of apparent wind, so it's an extremely cold place to spend your time, and so I've ruled it out for that reason. But the other negative of it is that when you're all the way in a forward cockpit, you don't have visibility of your sterns when you're trying to dock the boat. It makes it very, very difficult, and all catamarans should be docked stern first. Nobody should be jumping off the bow of a catamaran onto a dock. You always want to come in stern first and step off the stern. Therefore, helm stations that are closer to the stern, in my opinion, are safer. So for that reason, we ruled out a forward cockpit completely on our boats. But there is one thing I really do like about the forward cockpit, or helms that are forward in the salon. And that is, hey, a lot of times it's cold outside. A lot of times you don't want to be up in the sun. Maybe you're piloting up a river. Maybe you're in fog. Yesterday here in Cape Town on this particular boat, we were out sailing, it was beautiful, and we got immersed in fog, and I just said, oh boy, I would rather be down. So when you have a helm that's all the way forward inside, once again, you have a visibility problem looking out onto your sterns. But at least you're protected. You can pilot the boat comfortable, you can have a cup of coffee, and that's just fantastic. Then I thought, okay, well, what about dual helms aft? This is when you have two helms on both sides of the boat aft. The beauty of a dual helm is that when you're sailing to windward, you can see the sails, it's very sporty, it's a lot of fun. The negative is that you always have visibility problems looking to the opposite side of the boat when you're sailing in crowded areas, and you have a huge exposure problem to sun. So, and if you put a little bimini over those sorts of things, there's a lot of windage, and so it's very problematic. The nice thing about the dual helms, obviously, is that you're very close to the stern when you're docking the boat, so you can see and communicate with the person that's getting off the boat to get the first line on the cleat. But if your autopilot fails on a dual helm boat and you have to sit there and hand steer the boat for days on end, let me tell you something, it's punishing to be sitting out there. Another popular helm station design that you see is called the flybridge, and the flybridge has some magical features for the charter business. People are up top, the views are incredible when you're sitting up on the top of the flybridge. People can sit up and enjoy a sunset, cocktails, etc., and it's become really, really popular in charter. The problem is on smaller catamarans under, say, 65 feet, the boom ends up being raised so far off the water that the efficiency of the sail plan is quite poor. And those types of boats typically, until you get into the really larger ones, sail very, very poorly upwind. The other problem is that the people that are up in the flybridge are completely separated from the people that are down in the aft cockpit. And also, if you're piloting the boat short-handed in the flybridge, when you want to dock the boat, you have some communication problems down below, but if you have to run down onto the deck to get a cleat, it's a long way to go. So for that reason, we ruled out the flybridge on any of our designs until they become very, very large. Another popular helm station that you see, although less often these days, but you do see that on performance cats, is what we call dual bulkhead helm station. So you have one wheel on the back of the coach roof on the starboard side and one wheel on the back of the port side. And I don't really have a problem with those types of wheels from a visibility perspective, but I don't like the idea of having sail controls separated into two different locations. I mean, ideally, you want to have your lines either near your helm or just after your helm where you can manage them all together. And so for that reason, I ruled out that type of helm station, which brings us to the helm station that we designed, which is we call the Versa Helm. We spent, I am telling you, hours and hours and hours and hours designing this helm, talking it over, working it out, because there are many critical elements that we were trying to achieve. So the Versa Helm in the down position enables you to pilot the boat in cold weather. We have this window here that opens up. You can have a cup of coffee sitting here, no matter what the weather's like. This sliding hardtop is closed. You can put clears on the sides of the boat for cold weather, and you basically are piloting the boat looking through the windows of the boat. I can currently see both bows and I can currently see both sterns, which makes it ideal for docking the boat. We spent hours working on the sight lines to make sure that you could see right through the boat. We tried to make as few braces as we could. We decided to use high glass windows, which offer the best visibility. And so basically, there's almost no blind spot in this boat. You can power it from down here and you can sail it from down here. And my guess is that the vast majority of people that are going to be voyaging on this boat, the wheel's going to be down here almost all the time when they're voyaging. And why do you want to be up there? You want to be up there because you want to sail. I call it the Joy to V station. You want to be able to sit up, look at your sails, and enjoy sailing. But obviously when you're voyaging, you're not going to be sitting up in the helm for hours on end. You only want to be up there to see the sails, maybe trim the sails, and enjoy the spirit of sailing. But I think under voyaging conditions, somebody would be down here. If your autopilot fails, guess what? You're not exposed. You're completely protected. If the weather's cold, guess what? You're fine. You're protected. You want to pilot up a river? No problem. You're protected. You're warm. You're comfortable. The other issue is if you're out in a storm and you really have to steer your boat down big seas, surfing conditions, something really nasty, there's always going to be two people on watch. One person could be here, actually piloting the boat. The other person on watch, we designed this the salon couch to enable them to sleep. So you can have the other crew members sleeping right there. What happens when you're sailing in high winds conditions and stormy conditions is that it's noisy. The boat's sailing fast, the wind's howling. It's really hard for somebody down below to hear you. If you have a problem, you want to be able to just talk to your crew who's right in here or walk in and tap them on the shoulder. You don't want to have to leave the helm and walk down and wake them up, etc., etc. So we just think this is just a fantastic way to do it. We have throttles down below, so you can motor the boat from down below. And the steering on this boat is it's not hydraulic. It's a chain and pulley system. Actually, we use Spectra cord, so the steering sensitivity is just absolutely incredible. Okay, all right. So now we've decided, hey, it's time for Joy to V. We really want to go out and have a blast on the boat. So you lift the helm into the up position. Slide the hardtop open. Pull this pin. Walk up here. So then you pop up. And here you are in the Joy to V station is what I call it. This is when you really want to sail. You can see the main, you can see the jib. I have the wheel is just basically just below the hard top here. We also have a standing platform, so I can stand all the way up and look over both bows if I need to motor around crab pots or something like that. We have a small pop-up bimini that flips back, and it has a cavity, and so it lies flush to the bimini when it's stowed back and is protected from the sun. So you have the sun protection that you need to sail up here in the Joy to V station. You have all of your lines and stoppers are just to your right to manage the sails. And once again, you have great visibility. You can stand up a little bit, you can sit. It's just a super comfortable place to sail when the weather's nice and you want to enjoy yourself. What are the reasons why this little pop bimini goes down is that to have a performance boat, you really want to keep your boom as low as possible to the top of the coach roof. The lower you carry the sail plan, the better your performance is going to be upwind. And we also think, frankly, that aesthetically it's a lot prettier. And so one of our goals was to have no winches up on the top. When this is back and the hardtop is slid, the side profile of the boat is sleek, it's clean, it's beautiful, and it has a really efficient sail plan. And we think we've achieved it pretty well here. So another feature about our helm station that we think is pretty cool is that if it's still nasty and you don't want to be exposed to the weather, you stand here, you slide the top, close. We created a well here, so you can come up here and sit and operate these winches. This one here is an electric winch, this is a manual. They can both be electric if people want them. And we have put a clear window right here above me so that we can see the mainsail and the jibs. So if you want to do a sail trim, you have the visibility to do it, but you don't have to be exposed to the weather, which is pretty cool. It's also the case that on this particular boat, the main sheet is can be operated both up there and actually down here in the cockpit. And we can also set up the jib to operate both up there and down in the cockpit, depending upon the customer's choices. If it was my boat, I'd have up and down operation. But a person can focus their boat only on the up operation if they want, or only on the down, or they can have both. It's really a customer choice. I think it's pretty cool.